So again, in a normal week, this already is not great news for Kamala Harris, but considering we are just coming off of the DNC, we're just coming off of her convention bump, and she's starting to lose, that is brutal, terrible news once again. Here's a look at the current betting markets, and Kamala Harris actually dropped 1 point right as I was about to start filming this video. All right, folks, let's talk about the election today, because it was a big polling day in favor of Donald Trump. Yes, you could say that Kamala Harris honeymoon phase is starting to fizzle out, but there are two key things I notice even bigger than that, which is, first of all, there seems to have not been a post-DNC bump for Kamala Harris, right? Because usually when you do your convention, whether you're the Democrat or the Republican, the next week or two, you see an increase in the polls and then you come back down to reality. It seems to me the DNC was so bad at appealing to independent voters and maybe perhaps even energizing the Democrat base, you've seen the opposite, which is the polls have shifted in favor of Donald Trump in some of these things since the DNC. That's number one. But also number two, what did I say in the last video that we discussed this? Watch till Labor Day, right? Around Labor Day, this election is going to start to change. Democrats can celebrate now, but that is called the historic Democrat response bias. It always happens in August. Around this time, a couple of years ago, Biden was up by way more, Hillary was up by way more, but as I called it, right, wait till Labor Day weekend, and that's exactly what we are seeing here. So, folks, we're going to get into that here today. I have a lot of things to show you. First of all, there's the Quinnipiac poll, comparison to some of the 2020 stuff. There's a Reuters poll out today that shows Trump leading across the swing states, the betting odds, etc. And even Nate Silver, of all people, very liberal bias, by the way, is now forecasting a Donald Trump victory. But first, folks, before we get into all of that, I gotta tell you about our sponsors today over at Goldco. Protecting your savings is crucial, especially in volatile times like this, and Goldco can help you do so by protecting and diversifying your retirement with gold and silver IRAs. These can serve as shields against inflation and dollar devaluation, which gold and silver have historically been effective at throughout history, and Goldco makes it easy to roll over your 401k or IRA to a gold or silver one, tax and penalty free. That is right. The process is quick and painless. They also offer the direct purchase of gold and silver, and plus, right now, you can get up to $10,000 in free silver when you open an account, and who doesn't want that? So, folks, don't wait for bad economic times to truly hit us. Go right now to vincegold.com. Protect your savings, your financial future at vincegold.com. All right, so getting right into this, we'll start here with the post-DNC poll from Quinnipiac. Now, keep in mind, Quinnipiac is a very liberal-leaning pollster, okay? People always make jokes about Quinnipiac that, like, if Trump is up 5, he'll be down 5 in Quinnipiac or whatever. But this is, of course, the post-DNC poll from a very far left-leaning pollster. So you would expect Harris should be up big, right? Harris would be up like 10 points or something. No, she's actually up only 1. That is right. With the convention bump for Kamala included, the election, according to Quinnipiac, is currently Kamala 49, Trump 48, and obviously that translates to a very likely Trump Electoral College victory. But just for comparison here, at this point in 2016, Hillary was up 10% in this poll, and Biden was also up 10%. So that is right. This is completely brutal for Kamala Harris, because if a post-DNC liberal-leaning pollster can only give you 1% lead, that means you're probably down by several points, at least by the transitive property here. And just as a reminder, I know people bring this up, but this is important to keep in mind, which is, for instance, like Fox News polls back in 2020, you had Biden up 49-40 in Arizona. He was up 50-46 in North Carolina and 50-42 in Wisconsin. And we certainly know that regardless of however the election went, the margins looked nothing like this. So this is exactly why I said, it's kind of hard to take those summertime polls seriously, because if you're seeing results that are totally unrealistic, it is very likely having to do with, again, again, that Democrat response bias that we've talked about before. But now, like I said, we're inching closer to Labor Day. It basically already is Labor Day, and now that is starting to shift. We have another poll out from Reuters today that now has Trump leading Harris by 2 points across the swing states. So in Arizona, Nevada, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, the net lead of Trump is 45% to 43%. So again, in a normal week, this already is not great news for Kamala Harris, but considering we are just coming off of the DNC, we're just coming off of her convention bump, and she's starting to lose, that is brutal, terrible news once again. Here's a look at the current betting markets, and Kamala Harris actually dropped 1 point right as I was about to start filming this video. So you can see currently Trump is at 50%, Kamala's at 40%. I will reiterate, I usually don't take betting markets super seriously as a predictor, but they are an indication of energy, right? An indication of how the vibes, how people are feeling about this election. And if people feel, again, right after the DNC, that they're starting to favor Trump even more, then that is not good news on her part. Most recent polls out of Arizona, Emerson College has Trump up by 3, Noble Predictive has Trump up by 3, and this is a result of RFK Jr. getting off the ballot, and that has now given Trump a clear lead, obviously, in the state of Arizona, so that is also some great news to share with you. But here is now some huge news, which is that Nate Silver's 538 model, that's right, Mr. Nate Plastic, you know, always like, you look at RCP, which is the more respected polling averages, and then 538 always has a Democrat bias, okay, so let's keep that in mind. But he now has Trump at a 52.4% chance of winning the election in November. And so this is a guy who's like super Democrat biased. I don't know what's going on, but now he's starting to feel like it's going to favor Trump. And if you tally up the current polls out of the RCP, out of Real Clear Politics, Trump currently wins the Electoral College 287 to 251. And this is basically, you know, if you take all the polling averages out of the swing states and see where you are, Trump would win essentially every swing state except Wisconsin and Michigan, and he wins the election, right? So that's pretty big. And by the way, I'll point this out, just 15 days ago, Nate Silver had Kamala Harris at a 56% chance of winning the election and Trump only at 42. So that shows you a little bit of just how fast this election has changed in Donald Trump's favor. And again, when you just had your DNC last week, these are not numbers you want to be seeing unless Trump has some type of meltdown at the debate. It could be very possible Kamala Harris has already hit her ceiling. That enthusiasm is starting to wear off. The Republicans, because it is getting close to Labor Day, are starting to pay more attention to the election. And again, it may be downhill for Kamala Harris from here, but we will have to see, obviously. Do not get complacent whatsoever. That said, folks, be sure to leave a like on this video. Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to go check out our friends over at vincegold.com. And until next time, God bless and peace.